Welcome back to the Empowered Aging Podcast. Today we've got a delightful chat with Lauren Joyner from the Dance Project, diving into her incredible work with Parkinson's dance classes and the joy of creative movement. Stay tuned, it's going to be a great
All
one.
right, I am here today with Lauren Joyner from the Dance Project.
Yeah.
I met Lauren at a support group at the Cones Parkinson support group that they have every month over at Sagewell. And I thought she would be a great addition to this podcast so everybody could learn all about the wonderful things that the Dance Project does. So, without further ado, I would love for you, Lauren, just to tell us about yourself, about Dance Project, what you do, that whole thing.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me. It was a joy to meet you there and to be a part of the Parkinson's community here in Greensboro. So I'm Lauren Joyner, and I am the Director of Strategic Programs at Dance Project. And I also am teaching the Parkinson's Dance Class this fall that we do in partnership with Cone Health. And we just finished up we did a session last year and we finished up in May, and we work with a group of 15 adults with Parkinson's, and we have a weekly class where we get to connect with them. And we started this class in 2019. This was something that I was able to be a part of initiating this project. And we were able to work with a lot of people in the community to get it started. And it's been something that's been just really near and dear to my heart, but really special to Dance Project's programming because it speaks to our mission of making professional quality dance accessible. I know that there's a lot of conversation around science and the brain and dance. And this is something that we were aware of, and we wanted to make sure that we were providing something that could give some support for our Parkinson's community.
I love it. Yeah, there is a lot of science about music, dance,
Yeah.
art,
Drumming,
all those things
drama.
that, yeah, stimulate the mind in such a different way.
Yeah.
And I always say in my classes when I'm teaching Tai Chi in particular, that it's a brain challenge, and we have to challenge our brains to make those neural pathways, those connections.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So,
when we started the program in 2019, it actually was a partnership with what was then City Arts, which is now Creative Greensboro. And at the time, it was part of a series where people could do drumming and drama and art and dance. So there's so much opportunity there, I think, in the arts to support the Parkinson's community.
and in the support group that you came to, a lot was done seated. We did something standing. Well, that was a brain challenge. We kept adding on things and whatever. So what does an actual class look like when you do the real
Yeah.
thing?
That's a great question. So we often, because in any class, really, but especially in our Parkinson's class, we're going to be having dancers that vary in ability and where and how they want to take class. So whether that's standing, moving around the space and standing, or sitting in a chair. And so we give a lot of options. I will say that for my class in particular, which is something that it tends to be similar with some of our other teachers as well, is that we all start sitting so that we can come together as a community, as a group together. And then we start to move into gradually those options of standing and moving around the room or still staying seated. But we really like to modify the movement so that it's accessible to everybody in the room and everybody's going to get a really full, wonderful experience. And we make sure to do a lot of the class is rooted in sort of a creative movement format, which is something that I think people often associate with younger dancers, like ages 3 to 5, because it's rooted in a lot of like brain function and development and a lot of like occupational therapy and physical therapy work. And we've always dreamed of offering creative movement for everybody always through, but it's not always been easy to do. So it is similar in that like the start of the class, we warm up and we really work to get the brain stimulated. And we really love Anne Green Gilbert is a longtime educator that created something called the brain dance. And that's something that we really love to incorporate into the Parkinson's class because it uses different modalities with the body to actually engage the brain so that it's ready to learn and take in new information. And then we really like to challenge our dancers, as you saw in the support
Yeah,
group.
that
Um,
was.
and yeah. So a lot of trying to remember different movements, but also finding ways to move through that if we can't, because I think all of that is equally valuable. And then we sometimes like at the end to really think about what it's like to create a little bit together as well, which is more of like an improvisation type philosophies. We might give a prompt or something like that, which is actually pretty similar to a lot of the format of classes that we offer for all ages and levels.
Okay. And do you ever actually sounds kind of weird, maybe
Yeah.
actually dance, like
Yeah.
partner kind of, I don't know, waltz and things like that?
Yeah. So, I mean, what we kind of balance it out, and it really sometimes can depend on the teacher. I have a teaching background in all dance styles because I grew up doing all of those and did them in college and professionally. And so I feel like I have a big pot to pull from. And
Uh,
sometimes after we warm up, we do a little bit of ballet bar, and that gives them the option to challenge their balance in the center without their chair, or they can stand behind their chair or use their chair, or they can sit in the chair and use it. And so I really try to take things that I feel like are going to be a good challenge for them, but also an opportunity to move. And some of the partnering things that we've done have been more improvisational things that are really common tools to use in an improvisational class, like doing mirroring, like things where you're connecting with other people. I do think that we found early on in this that one of the biggest pieces of the class not only is challenging our brains with the movement, because there's science behind that obviously it can increase their ability to balance and help to mitigate some of the things that come with having Parkinson's, but also we really wanted to have a community piece. So are they talking to each other? Are they connecting with each other? And, that was already naturally really happening a lot with this amazing group of people that is the Parkinson's community here in Greensboro. But we tried to create moments in class where they're working together to create something. So they're talking and they're learning and they're moving. We also allow for caretakers to come and take the class as well so that they can have an opportunity. So they may be moving differently than the rest of the group. And it's just a chance to connect, but also learn and also hopefully help to mitigate some of the things that they're experiencing, whether that is physical or emotional.
Yeah. So this last year you had it February through May is what?
Yes. And we
Okay.
also did a session last fall as well.
Okay, so you have it twice a year.
Yep. So we do
That's
fall and spring, and we tend to do like 10 to 12 weeks of class in those time frames.
And do people generally come that whole time? Do they kind of just come and go? What?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I mean, they technically can come and go, of course. The class is offered for free, which is really an exciting opportunity that we get through grant funding and sponsorships through Cone Help. But most of the group, if they register, they come for that session.
Okay.
And we do have a lot of overlap in dancers from the first session to the second session. And some of our dancers have been doing it with us since 2019. So they did it online with us during the pandemic and
Yeah,
back.
that's what I was going to ask. COVID, you did online then.
We did do online. Yeah, which was great. I mean, that went really well. We were really lucky to have an instructor, Dylan Reddish, who actually started with me as my assistant in the Parkinson's class and then was able to take over the Parkinson's class during the pandemic and a little after that, and just really soared with them online, which was wonderful. Such a bright spot in a tough time.
Yeah, no kidding. That was tough.
Yeah.
How did you even get into
Yeah.
this, with the Parkinson's specifically?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. So, my dance background is really vast, which I'm so blessed that that's been opportunities that I've been able to have. And one of my favorite age groups, I tend to really love to work with the 3 to 5 year olds and the teenagers. Those are my happy places, which I know is very different. So I taught a lot of creative movement for a long time, and I knew the benefits of that for everyone, right? Because this is ways to challenge our brain, to move in different ways, and also just explore being creative, which is so fun and something that I really live for. When in 2018, we were approached by Cone Health. They have a movement disorder social worker that actually works with a Dr. Tat, who
Mhm.
is really motivated to create opportunities for the Parkinson's community. So
That
I
would be
really have
Sarah.
to, yes,
Yeah,
yes, we really
yeah,
have
she's
to. Yeah, Sarah is amazing. She's been a great, and she's worked with us at different times, and we're so
mhm,
glad that she's involved now. And at the time, Dr. Tat was creating a symposium for the Parkinson's community, and so we worked to do a demo class. And so I actually taught a 20-minute class at Wellspring on the stage, and there were like 200 Parkinson's community members in the audience, and we all danced in our chairs for 20 minutes, and it was magical and really
Oh,
cool. And then we were able to, from there, to start the art series through City Arts. And then the next year after that, the movement disorder specialist or social work at the time was a woman named Jessica, and she worked with us to create another year-long dance program. And we've just been doing it ever since. And um, I'm very lucky that we also are connected with Christina Soriano. I think it's really important to give her a shout out because she has been doing work with Parkinson's dancers for the last decade and is located, she's a staff member at Wake Forest University, and she has worked with a neuroscientist, Christina Hugensmith, Dr. Christina Hugensmith at Wake Forest, to really work to study the science of dance and Parkinson's and dance and the brain and dance and people with NCIs. And so I was lucky enough to connect with her early on in this, and she actually created a style of teaching called improvement that is made specifically for people with Parkinson's and MCIs to help
wow.
increase, yeah, to keep those connected, all the connected juices going with dance and the brain. And that's something that is really, really interesting. And she was really supportive in the beginning of our class to really just help us understand what it means to provide something like this. But she's
Mhm.
really remarkable and has really paved the way for the rest of us in North Carolina to be able to do this work. So,
So she basically gave you the fundamentals of how to
yeah,
teach,
yeah.
what to work
Yeah.
on.
Well, I think she really inspired me to feel comfortable with
Mhm,
where we don't strictly do an improvement class.
mhm,
But not saying that we won't. I think it'd be nice if we could at some point in the future. But I got to help her. I got to work with her on one of their iMove studies that specifically was funded by NIH to study the effects of dance and the brain. And so I was able to really like build my confidence with this
mhm,
community in
mhm,
working with her. And so I think that that's just was a really valuable experience for me as a teacher that I think inspired me to continue to want to do this work for our community
mhm,
as well.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, how fun. So do caregivers often, care partners often come and do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a ton of caregivers that come and they take class with them. And I think it's just so beautiful because they, we often have teaching assistants in the room
Mhm,
so that we can support the dancers in the space and what they need. and, the caregivers sometimes do some of that. I think a lot of that is that's just a part of their daily life, but we
Mhm.
also really encourage them to take class for themselves as well.
Uh-huh.
So it's a
Right.
chance for them, obviously, to challenge their brains
Yeah.
and maybe step away a little bit from what that caregiver role is and have a time to do something that's really fun with their partner that's not just about caregiving, but about enjoying something together, which is really valuable.
Yeah. I envision, maybe some of the older couples who maybe used to go out dancing when they were younger, and maybe
Absolutely.
this gives them a little bit of that outlet and a way to do it. And it'd be nice
Absolutely.
to think maybe they could do that at home too sometimes.
Absolutely. And a lot of them do. A
Oh,
lot of them
good.
do. And so many of them stayed with us through this and have since lost partners even in the process of starting with us.
Mhm.
And, I think what has been really special with that is to see that they're still connected to us. They built
Mm,
community within Dance Project and they can still come and take class because
mm.
we offer adult drop-in classes for ages 18 and up for
Oh,
any level and any age. We offer about 15 classes a week and we have about
oh,
100 dancers that
wow.
dance with us every single week, ranging from ages 24 to 80, so there's
They
ways
just drop in. That
yeah,
that
yeah.
you don't have to. Oh, wow.
You do have to register and
Right.
there is a
Okay.
price for that. We offer a lot of opportunities to really get a good deal on those, but yeah, that's it. Which
Oh,
is
how
awesome.
fun.
And you
You
need
don't
to
have
come
to.
take class with us.
Yeah, yeah, because then you
Yeah.
wouldn't have to commit to this, every
No,
Tuesday or whatever. You can just kind of
yeah.
come when you
When you
want. That sounds
can.
fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think honestly, I've found in giving the opportunity for people to kind of have some autonomy over how they can plan that out, I think it creates more longevity for the dancers because they don't
Mhm.
feel the pressure of like, oh, I signed up for this thing, but I never went. And now I don't want to go back because I'm embarrassed that I didn't go, or I
Yeah.
don't want to keep spending money on something I'm not going to use. And so it gives them
Mhm.
the option to really like let it meet them where they are in their life and let
Yeah.
it be part in the ways that really work for them, which is
Yeah.
wonderful. As
It's
a
kind of
parent
like
of a 4-year-old.
other, if you think about other classes, yoga, tai chi, uh, whatever, jazzercise, they
Yeah,
just go and when it fits their schedule. And
that's
to me,
right.
dance is kind of like that. And
It is very similar, and it's a way because a lot of those things really serve the purpose of wellness for our bodies and our minds and our spirit. It keeps
Mhm.
us moving, it keeps us creative, it keeps us in community with other people. And, we adult being an adult is already hard enough. Let's make it as easy as we can for people to be able to enjoy and experience those things.
Yeah, I try to get across to people that, exercise doesn't have to be, lifting the weights, pushing,
CrossFit or
whatever. Like, do something fun, whether it's dancing or the cardio drumming or,
yeah,
boxing,
yeah.
all those
I
things
mean,
that, yeah.
right. One of my favorite community members that is a dancer, her name's Maria Gonzalez. She works with Casa Azul and hosts the Noches Latinas dance social every Friday in LeBauer Park. And I'm always like,
Mm,
that's exercise and it's going to be really fun.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
I think it's great to think outside of the box. And, even if you're accustomed to doing the other things, you can still lift weights and then go take a dance class the
right.
next
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah. Just, dabble in different things. Variety is the spice of life.
That's right. Amen.
Yes.
For sure. For sure.
So if someone um maybe kind of wanted to do this, but well, could you give an idea of maybe something that they could start at home? What's an exercise that you would do with someone that they could do
Yeah,
sitting, standing, whatever?
absolutely. Well, so something that I think can be really wonderful to do at home is, I had mentioned earlier, Anne Green Gilbert, who created the brain dance. This is something that you can find online, and it's a way to really activate your brain. I always really encourage people, start your day this way because it's going to get you moving in a really intentional way. And You know, a lot of that, it sort of starts with tactile movement. So things like if you were doing, like pretending like there's raindrops all over your body, and then you decided to brush all the dirt off of your body here, having this moment to be tactile and feel your body in the space. And then you can also pat. So we're just waking the body up. And this is how we like to start class. And we're patting and we're patting and we're patting. Yep.
Just to stimulate the senses, kind of?
Yeah, absolutely. We're literally waking up the brain, and we're gonna do things that also wake up different parts of the brain as well. So the other thing that you do is then you do movement with the upper body. So we can, you know, draw our name on the ceiling with the top of our head, or we can sway. I tend to not do a lot of backwards movement with older adults because we've got a lot of veins in the neck. I guess you know that as a
Yeah, that
PT.
it's not so good when they're,
Yeah, but that upper body is from the waist up. So we're looking at arms, shoulders, head, and then you do the same thing with the lower body, like you got a snake in your spine and you're trying to draw your name on your chair. And then you start to move opposite sides of the body. So we're doing cross lateral movement. We're taking it from high to low. So we might reach up high here as high as we can, and then reach down to the opposite foot. And you can do that on both sides. And then we like to get really big as we can, and then really small. So really working within that opposition. So yeah, so that's a
Yeah.
snapshot of brain dance. There's plenty that you can do, but there is a process with brain dance, and it's such a great tool.
So if someone were interested, but they're like, "Ooh, I don't know, my balance isn't so great," there are modifications, there are
Oh,
ways for
absolutely. And
everybody.
we're very attuned to that. And we provide chairs for all of our classes. So we have a chair for every single person in the class. For the start of the class, we also have teacher assistants in the room that are poised and ready to support any lack of balance or instability, and to support in ways that are also helpful, you know, and making sure that we're asking permission to support and help. And so we start assuming that everybody wants to be seated, and then we let people go from there. And I think that's a really important approach to the class, so that no matter what, people feel as comfortable as they can. We've also had some of our dancers who utilize a wheelchair just take class from their chair. So there's just the possibilities are endless. And you know, I think sometimes if you haven't experienced an inclusive dance class, it's easy to think, oh, they're not really going to be able to accommodate me. But at Dance Project, we are extremely passionate about that. And so we will do everything we can and go out of our way to make sure that we've created an experience for every single person in the room.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that opens up another thought outside of Parkinson's.
Mhm.
You mentioned inclusiveness. You know, obviously I know other people who are in wheelchairs, not because of Parkinson's disease. Do you have opportunities for those type of people as well?
We do. We do. So we have really worked hard in the last 5 years to create opportunities for all people in our classes. And we've done that we worked with an amazing group called the National Inclusion Project. A big shout out to Amanda Clue, who is one of my favorite people in the whole world. She leads this organization and has come and worked with our teachers. So we've done two levels of their training, the first level and the second level, where they come in and they do an all-day training with our teachers on inclusive practices for the dance classroom. So Amanda specifically has a dance background, but she works also with camp counselors and churches, and she's actually working with my church right now to help to broaden our inclusivity of our programs and what we can offer there. So you know, really the opportunities are endless. And so we've been able to take that information and really implement it into how we approach class.
Mhm.
And so there is an opportunity for inclusion in any of our classes on the schedule.
So these drop-in classes that you were referring to earlier,
Yeah,
even those would be okay for
absolutely. Yep,
wheelchair
absolutely,
user.
absolutely. And, especially for our dancers 18 and under, we offer an open house where they can, and a free trial opportunity where they can come and try things. We also can have conversations with the adults to see how we can best prepare the instructor in the space and them to what kind of experience they may have and how we can support them as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that being a great, not just exercise, but just a great release for people who feel
Absolutely.
like they can't do much, because they're in
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
chair.
Well, and I
Um,
think I think that, you know, um, I think that, you know, there's a wonderful dance company called Axis Dance Company, and they're based out of Los Angeles, and they are an inclusive dance company. And so they have dancers that, are utilizing a wheelchair, or, this could be physical or cognitive disabilities, you name it. And they're amazing. And I just think they're so inspiring and a good reminder, that we can do so much as
mhm,
people. We just need the right support, you know.
mhm.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm all ready to come to a class now.
Great,
Don't
great.
have I have
Yeah,
no dancing ability
I know.
whatsoever.
Well, it's actually not required, so
God,
that works out well.
no
There-
judgment zone, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. And there's also some really good resources in North Carolina for accessibility in the arts. Like I know for us, we have worked at different points with Arts Access. They're located in Raleigh, North Carolina, and they do a lot of work to make the arts more accessible in North Carolina. And they provide a lot of trainings and opportunities. And we've also worked with a group called Abler that actually was able to audit our website to help tell us how we can make it more accessible to people with disabilities as well. So there are a lot of resources out there to really make everything that you do from your registration process to the classroom more accessible. And we don't have it all figured out. It's a process, and we're learning every single day and taking it step by step, but trying to really be intentional about how we apply that work to what we're doing.
Well, it sounds like you guys have really made an effort to cover all the bases as best you can and really be providing to so many different people. It's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we realized, about 5 years ago, our mission and goal is to make professional quality dance more accessible. And so if that's really our goal, we have to be really intentional about what that means. Is it really accessible? And so I think we take that seriously and try to do everything that we can to live that out. So
Kudos to you guys. You're
thank
doing a
you.
great job from what it sounds like.
Thank you so much.
So, is there anything that you can think of that we didn't cover that you want to make sure everybody knows or
I don't think so. I mean, I think the key is that if you're ever feeling hesitant to take a class, just know that you're going to be received with open arms, and any of those worries that you may have, or telling yourself that you're not a dancer, we're all movers in our own right. And so, don't let that stop you from coming in and taking a class or signing up for the Parkinson's class, because it's really a beautiful opportunity to build community and to connect with other people, and also learn so much new stuff about who you are and what you can do.
and if
And
they wanted
byproduct is helping your brain.
exactly.
Right.
So would they look up the dance project to
Yes.
sign up or
Yeah.
learn
So
more?
it's danceproject.org. That's our website. You can also email me if you have any questions about the Parkinson's class. And my email is lauren@danceproject.org. Pretty straightforward. We're located in the Greensboro Cultural Center. We're on the third floor. And we do have multiple elevators and ramps. It is ADA accessible in the building. We tend to host the Parkinson's class downstairs in the Van Dyke performance space, because it can alleviate the need for the stairs, but we may be doing it in our studio as well. So just kind of that changes from semester to semester. semester. So I think just keep an eye out for that. But we'd be more than happy to talk through with you how to get in the building. We even have met patients early before class starts or even the week before class starts. And we just kind of have a little open house and say, why don't you just come over and you can see the studio and really get comfortable with how to get in and out of the building as well.
And when is the next class
The
starting?
next session, I believe, is starting in early October. We're still in chats with Sarah about that.
Okay.
And so we'll be putting information out about that hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So I would definitely keep an eye out.
Okay. Yes, I'll definitely
And-
keep my
and if
people informed.
Yes, please. And I know that accessibility to learning more about the class can vary for people. So you can also call our offices at any time.
Okay,
And
I'll put all your contact info in
Perfect.
the,
Yeah, that'd be
details
great.
below so they can see that.
Great.
Wonderful. Yeah. Is there a limit to class size? So do you
Right
generally?
now, no. I think our largest class that we've had so far was 18 to 20. I mean, we would probably cut it off at 30 to 35 because we would want to make sure we had enough space to move comfortably and safely, but we haven't hit that max yet. So I
Okay.
think,
You haven't had to turn anyone away.
yeah, and
Yeah.
look, and we are resourceful. If for some reason it gets full, we'll just open another session. So no
Okay.
worries.
All right. All right. Well, we will stay tuned for more information on that.
Yay.
Thank you so much for being here with us today, Lauren. I really appreciate you sharing your
Oh, thank
program with us.
you. Yes. Oh, thank you. And I'm so grateful for all the work that you're doing and all the hard work that you're doing to illuminate and highlight these types of opportunities for our community. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Takes a village.